What's going on, family? We coming to you, man, on Saturday. I know this is kind of odd, man, but I missed yesterday. Had to take a little time for myself, man. Get some rest, man. For some reason, Thursday night I didn't rest too well, man. I was sleepless, so usually on them days, man, I'll either get my workout in that afternoon or the next day. So we here on the Saturday, man. We just knocked some legs out, and I'm feeling pretty good, man. I'm feeling good. I have some things that are going to go on Monday. Like I mentioned, man, life changing. But you know, I was on the panel yesterday, man, impromptu. And I had some friends that had a conversation, man, and I had to get in the conversation. A lot of times, man, here's the thing. I am a person who believes in forgiveness. I believe in the fact that, you know, if you want to be forgiven in the end, that you have to forgive others. So I'm okay with that, right? But here's the addition to that, right? Even though a person might extend you forgiveness, they might say, okay, man, that's cool, we good. Whatever you do, you're going to have to bear the consequences for it, right? So the scenario yesterday was, you got a lady, man, she had 3 children, 3 of them, by 3 different guys, right? And the thing about it was, it was a lady on the panel, and she was saying, well, you can't judge her by that one mistake. You can't say her preferences are too high, what she requires in the next man is too high. Well, here's the thing about that, man. Regardless of whether a person forgives you or not, we got to look at this thing for what it is. And despite the forgiveness that might be extended to you, you still have to deal with the situation that you created, right? See, on my platform, the majority of the time, I try to make it a point, man. If it's not something that is just, you know, outright, subtly, I'll try to inject the point that before you start thinking about having a baby, before you start thinking about anything that has to do with family, man, you have to create the circumstances that will facilitate and support a family. So why are you having children and you don't have a husband? You don't have a stable home environment for these children. Now, look, I'm going to go back to something that we learned from the Moynihan report. The family unit is the main socializing mechanism for anyone. If you're a human being, your family or the lack of your family is what socializes you. It's what allows you to go out into society and interact with individuals and maintain peace with these individuals. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to teach you how to react to other people, right? If you have not set up a situation where a child can see a mother and a father working together to build something for their family, to have peace, and to make sure that the children are well cared for, you have done that child a disservice. You've done that child a disservice. Now, I understand that there are some situations that call for it. Please believe I understand. Especially if the mother and the father are not on the same accord. So I understand, you know, there's some situations that call for a family to be divided. But now, that's not ideal. And there are going to be some issues in the future that child is going to have to deal with because of seeing the split between the mother and the father. But I think that same damage would be done if the mother and father was there together and they were always arguing. But back to the point. So the main issue on this panel was that one lady, one sister I should say, was arguing for the point that we don't have the right to assess this young lady's preferences because of things that she has done in the past. So what I want you to think about for a moment is this, right? Let's say, for instance, I was a doctor, MD. And let's make it a bit more specific. I was a surgeon, okay? And in my medical career, I have had many malpractice suits filed against me. And even at one point, I had even lost my license to practice medicine. And so you have a form of cancer that you need an operation for, right? Maybe you have liver cancer or something of that sort, but the area where the cancer is has not metastasized. It hasn't gone throughout your body, so it's a local area that if we operate, we can remove it, right? Maybe get you some radiation or chemotherapy so that we can get you cancer free, right? That's the goal, that's the objective. Would you feel comfortable with me doing that surgery for you? Would you feel comfortable knowing what you know now about the malpractice suits, me losing my license? Would you feel comfortable with me carrying that surgery out on you? And I guarantee you that you wouldn't. You wouldn't. If anything, I would be the very last alternative. I would be last on the list. Why? Because the past dictates to you that my surgeries, the things that I do, are not things that are intentional. They're not things that speak to a person who is precise, to a person who is skilled at what they do. It doesn't say that. My history doesn't say that. My history says something quite to the contrary. So any person, logical person, let me put it that way, any person who logically thinks about that situation would have their reservations. Well, let's take it a step further. Let's say that within the hospital that I'm working, they give out every year an MD of the year, a medical doctor of the year. And so I have just regained my license. I've just gotten it. I'm practicing again. And one of my colleagues this year gets the MD of the year. And I'm upset. As a matter of fact, I'm angry because I didn't get it. Well, did I qualify for it? Did I? With my history. And mind you, now my friend has never had a malpractice suit. His career is sterling. As a matter of fact, when the newer doctors come, he is tasked with some of the teaching and the training of these newer doctors during their residency. So his career has been sterling, right? He's even pioneered procedures for surgery that are used all over the world. And I come in having just regained my license, and I say, okay, I should have got MD of the year. If you compare what I've done to what he's done, how in the world can you come up with the conclusion that I should be the one to get that MD of the year? So what does this have to do with my story? What does this have to do with this lady who has 3 children by 3 different men? It's simple. It's simple. The things that you decide to do speak to your mindset. They speak to how you think, right? Because any individual in a difficult situation, we would hope that what you would do is look at the difficult situation, look at what might have gone wrong, where you might have made a turn that you shouldn't have, and then you correct, and you don't make that decision anymore. But this lady, and I don't mean to castigate her or denigrate her or any of those negative things, but this lady made this particular decision 3 times. And we're not saying that the children were the mistake. That's not what we're saying, because that's never the case. Life is precious. But what we are saying is that it was a mistake for this lady to lay down with a man and produce children with these 3 men without requiring anyone to marry her. That was the mistake. That was the mistake. You don't do things and then later on expect not to be held responsible for the decisions that you make. That's just not how life works. That's not how life works. So in that same example with that MD who had a horrible history, it spoke to the way that he thought. He wasn't careful. He wasn't precise. He wasn't mindful. He didn't make decisions thinking about the consequences. At the end, he just went into the situation haphazardly. And that's the reason why he didn't get MD of the year. And that's the reason why that young lady with the 3 children by 3 different men does not have the ability to choose between who she will and who she won't. Well, of course she does. She does. Let me take that back. She does. But here's the thing. The men that she wants, the men that she would like to have as a father figure or a stepfather for her children, are those men going to be men that want her? Because now she had a long laundry list of things that she wanted. She wanted someone 6 feet above, right? She didn't want anyone fat. She wanted someone that was active, that was working out. She wanted someone that had their own house, their own cars. And then on top of that, she said that she wanted someone who could take care of her and her 3 children. So a man who can do all that. So let's flesh this out, okay? I know I'm going long, but I want y'all to understand that. To take care of a child from 0 to year 18, from when the child is first born to when the child turns 18, is $233,000, right? But that's just upkeep. You hadn't accounted for the college fund for the child. You hadn't accounted for the miscellaneous activities that the child might want to take on. You hadn't accounted for any of the things that'll be necessary to raise this child on a level where they will be cultured and experienced in things of the world, right? 233. And then looking at just the college fund added to that, you're looking at $250,000 easy. So it's $250,000 on the low end. And you want that man to take on your 3 children, and you want that man to take on you, right? So what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? We're talking about a situation where if a man had those kinds of resources, why would he pick a woman who has 3 children already? Why would he do that? If he had those kind of resources, why wouldn't he just say, okay, I just get me a wife and have some children? And all of the children that have the same name as I have, because I'm here to tell you, if you go down that path, I'm speaking from experience. If someone in your home is not biologically yours and you haven't adopted them, right? Or they're not a child that was that needed to be put into your home because of difficulties with your siblings, right? Then that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem with respect. It's going to be a problem with how that child is treated. It's going to be a problem. Now, that may be a different situation for you, but I'm telling you what I experienced. It's going to be a problem sooner or later. So why would that man expose himself to those kind of problems with the resources that he has? Look like to me, the man would say, okay, I just need to go and start my own family. And that would make sense, because all of his resources would be going toward building his household. Makes sense to me. Makes sense. And nobody is coming down on single mothers. That, a lot of people, they say, y'all hate single mothers. Y'all, no. But what we're saying is, whatever decisions you make, you're accountable for them. You're accountable. And because you are accountable, that means that whatever happens later on after you made this decision is something that you have to deal with. You can't force anybody to help you with the decisions that you have made. You can't force anybody to do that. You can't force anyone to take on the responsibility that they didn't help create. So we had quite a conversation, man. We had quite a conversation. And if what I'm saying doesn't make sense to you, or what I'm saying sounds misogynistic, talk to me in the comments. I want to understand. I want somebody to explain to me, how is it that a man, his first and best choice should be to take on responsibility that he didn't help create? Somebody explain that to me. CJ, the guy that was over the panel, he made a good point. He said, if you had a son and your son has worked hard to become the best surgeon or the best lawyer or the best engineer, Would you want your son to take on those responsibilities? Something to think about. Well, anyway, man, I'm going to get out of here. I got some things to do today. You know I love you. Peace.